What's up, everybody? Ethan with Fight Me on this.
I'm Jill at CoachJill.April.
And we're back. Hi. How are you? How you been? How's your week?
Hi.
How's all your shit? It's sunny. Have you guys seen the sun? Have you been in it? It's motherfucking sunny. It feels good on the body. I've been rollerblading for whatever, anyways. It's sunny. It's been through days. It's not really that sunny today, but the past 3, love it. Whoops. I had not smoking up weed.
Uh-oh. What's your heart?
Don't have one on hand at the moment. I'm sure it has something to do with my mental health and tism. It's not necessarily a hard currently, but I know it's about to be. My letter of approval came through from my therapist. Letter of support came through from my therapist for those who've been following along, getting support with my mental health and the things that I actually need to try to navigate this life a little bit less holy shitty. And the first time I got one of these, I had it was like a minor breakdown, it was a moment. It was very, whatever. But that was from somebody that doesn't know me. They know me by way of what they needed to diagnose, but they don't know me at like 10 years of hearing the worst things about my experiences in this life have done. That's the letter I got yesterday, 2 days ago, 3 days. I don't know how long it's been, but I've been avoiding it because it's already weighing so heavy in my system. So it's just that my heart is knowing there's more rounds of this fucking reliving everything I've already lived and relived and relived. From the eyes of the expert that's been helping me hold it all. Not really like a letter I want to read, but I have to read it before it actually goes out.
We could just toss it out there, but
nope.
That feels like...
No, we're not.
Read it.
So as you can see, it's starting to irk me, so I'm going to put it down, but that's what my heart is currently. Woo, that was fun.
And it's a letter of support for the tax disability credit. So if you've done the process, then you know that it's just like intrusive and a lot of questions and
Yep. And more diagnosis is always fun. You
prove that you're fucked up enough to get money. Ready, go is basically what this process is.
Mm-hmm. Between AISH and CDT, it's proving that you live with things that debilitate people in singular affects. I have 9 of them.
And the tax disability credit seems like it's more specifically like prove that you can't function by yourself. Like that's really the vibe it gives of like prove that you cannot do things by yourself. And
unmedicated and unmasked.
And Ethan can do things by himself, so it's hard to like feel like you have to prove that you can't function as it.
Yeah, if I didn't do the things that I do to either I wouldn't be here or other people wouldn't be here. And that's what my therapist is explaining through documented, like he has to clip notes and so I could get to read the darkest parts of my life through the eyes of my therapist. So it'd be fun. Yeah, go, you're heard.
I don't know. What happened this week? Oh, my heart is, I have to formulate how to word this. My heart is remembering that Ethan's kid is a kid. And I've like said this to Ethan, so this is not like revolutionary. He's not learning things. I feel like especially about his kid, I have to like say that he already knows this. Ethan's kid is really cool. Jill doesn't do kids. And it's really hard for my brain to remember that children are children sometimes. And it's really challenging in my brain to remember that like you're not born with common sense. Like, and just little things that I feel like should be like a no shit are not, because that's a child. But this is why I will never have a kid because I don't have the processing system that can be like, that's a kid. That makes sense why they did it like that or didn't do it. My brain just goes, why the fuck aren't you doing the thing you're supposed to be doing? Um, and that's really hard on my system because I want to be like a positive adult in Ethan's kid's life, and I don't want her to feel like I'm always just like annoyed and grumpy. Um, and my dad yelled a lot when I was a kid, and I like refuse to yell at kids I care about. I'll yell at other people's kids. I yelled at somebody else's kid the other day at the park because they were letting their small toddler of a brother jump towards my 110-pound dog.
Oh god.
Um,
Anyways, no.
but it just like lands really hard in my system when I like get frustrated with Ethan's kid. Like, yeah, she went to throw something out at the park and then came back across the street, and we had told her like 18,000 million trillion times to look across the street before she crossed. And I watched her look down at her shoes and step into the road. And I was like, hey, what happened to like looking across the street? And she's like, I did. I was looking at like I was looking at you. You were looking at the ground. So I got like frustrated that she was just like, I looked. I'm like, I was literally watching you. You didn't. And then we got home from Costco, and Ethan was like, help Miss Jill bring some groceries in. And it took her so many minutes to pick up one thing out of the car, and bring it in the house. And I just got like so annoyed that like bringing groceries in is not like a simple ask. But I have to remember that she is a child. And if that expectation has not been put on her before, then she obviously would not know how to do it currently. So then
You
I
chose to have 6.
try having 6. I will never have 6. I won't even have 1. Um, and then I get so frustrated because I'm just like, why did it take you so long to bring in one thing from the car? So then I just put myself in timeout because I just have to be like, that's a child. And then I just like put myself over here. And usually
Yeah, like sorry,
Ethan
no,
steps
you hold
in.
on, because that's a crazy sentence to say when someone's saying that that they're having a hard time because they're not actually into kids, processing that that's a kid. And I don't know what validation was just sought there, but try having 6. You chose to do that. You like children, so the process is not the same. The understanding would not be the same because you chose to have 6 kids, so you like kids. The fact that you are miserable or don't like the fact that they fucking are kids is not the same. Jill doesn't like kids. She chooses to love me, which means that she has to figure it out or gets to figure it out or chooses to figure it out.
And I actually think it's really good for my brain to have to figure it out because adults don't operate the way I think they should operate, and they're adults. So, like, it is. I always come back to like, no, it's unlearning. Just because that's how like my childhood was doesn't mean that's how everybody's childhood was, and just because those expectations were put on me at a certain age does not mean every kid should have the expectations. And it always comes back to like, no, this is like a good thing for my brain to be like, take a second, that's a kid, and like learn some patience. But I don't know how to describe it to people. Ethan understands it pretty well. Like, I don't have the processing. Like, my brain doesn't go, that's a kid. My brain goes, why are you doing that? And it doesn't process, that's a child first. It just processes.
She delivered that really well. Why are you doing that?
And then after the why are you doing that, it turns into, oh, because that's a kid. But that's not my initial thought. My initial thought is annoyance.
I understand you because I too realized after having one that I'm actually not a kid person. I'm not a kid person in the sense that everything I know about being a kid, everything I know about the kid-parent relationship is so fucked up. Is so fucked up. And so when I had my kid, it was the leading up to it. My biggest fear was like, I don't know how to be a dad. And everyone's like, I don't know how to be. There's no handbook on being a parent. Like, no, but if any of you had a version of healthy family, you know you get love. What's up?
I do actually think there's kind of a handbook on having kids, and it's whatever your parents did. And I'm not saying that handbook is right, but most people got some sort of blueprint of this is how I was treated as a child. And then you get to decide if you want to repeat that or change that. But like most people had some version of a healthy example.
But that's what I'm saying is that like
no,
people
I'm like
got that
agreeing
shit.
with you that when
Is
people
that
are like, "There's no handbook," but you got a
but that's what I
version
mean,
of
and I
a
don't know.
handbook.
I don't get it because I at 3 years old I became a sex object to my parents. Love was an exchange of physicality at 3. My life was built on that foundation. I've spent so much goddamn time in therapy trying to undo that fucking foundation. Uh, but when my biggest fear was that I was not going to be able to find the unfucked up love that everybody else was giving their kids, apparently, that my daughter deserved. And then it was, why are you doing that? When we first brought her home, she was perfectly fine until we got her home, and then she screamed for like 6 hours straight, and I couldn't get her to stop. And as in that headspace of I don't know how to be a parent, the thing that I love the most in the world currently doesn't know that. And I don't know why I know that. I've been singing to her in Mama's belly like the book said to the whole time, doing everything the book said, and you're not, and you can't calm down. And and the autism in me was not being able to regulate the processing of I'm doing A plus B, but C is not working. And at the time, her mom clocked that something was the wiring was going weird because something, but I didn't understand why I was doing the things. That kept going. Those things kept happening where I couldn't process why if I'm doing A plus B to C, it's supposed to be C, not D with a question mark, and it's not happening over there. The thing's not doing it, and then but now she's old enough that she's walking, and that's so cool. But she would do a thing that I would have done that would have been deemed wrong, and I would have got beat to death for. So I just yell. But that's wrong because she didn't do anything because that's a kid. But I don't understand that because you should already know right from wrong because I had to. But that's not right because that's not me, and I don't want her to have the me. But A plus B is supposed to be still be C because you said that if you do this, then they do that. But nobody's hurting her. Like I would always come back to that. Uh-oh. I would always come back to, but nobody's hurting you. How are you reacting that way when nobody's hurting you? You can see the meltdown about to happen. Because that's the processing for me that I have had to work so hard in therapy for because nobody's hurting you. I don't understand that. I don't have a process. I don't have anything to draw on. I have no sense of that life. Nobody's hurting you. I wish I was kidding. I have no memory in my being that isn't centered around being hurt. So having children is weird. I want to protect them with everything in me at a distance because the work I do is about saving everybody and really protecting children. But I don't actually understand them. And that's my hardest thing in being a parent. I see my kid as just a human that I need to make sure makes it to a certain point so that she can take care of herself and the people around her. I don't need her to be me, but I need her to be able to hold her own and take care of herself because I'm going to disappear from her life far sooner than I need to and should. But as much as she is a child, that's a tiny human that looks a lot like me, has a lot of my mannerisms. It's really fucking funny. But I have to wrestle with all that shit I just said every single day being her dad.
Can engineer a kid. And that's like that sentence exactly. Sandra's like listening to Ethan talk. I'm like, yeah, mine's like more surface level of like, why didn't you come with the factory settings of knowing how to do things? And I know logically, like, you have to learn to do things, but I'm like, could you learn faster, please? Like, help Miss Jill take the groceries out of the car shouldn't be 5 minutes of which single grocery should I pick something up. The things that are in the car need to go in the house, figure it out. And then I had the paper towel in my hand, which would have been the logical thing for her to take because she's a child. But she didn't pick that. And then I grabbed the paper towel and a bag of groceries, and I'm in the house already. And she goes, "Do you want me to take the paper towel?"
That's how I know I'm actually not like a parent, because both of those situations happened. I clocked the road thing, and as dad, like I should have been like 0 to 100, but Jill had said something. So when she did, I just got in the car and closed the door because I had to go. If you tell that adult person that I know saw you do what I saw you do, that she didn't see it one more fucking time, I'm gonna open this door, and she didn't. I'm like, thank fuck, see, I can regulate. And then on that one, it was I said it, and I watched her stand there.
And I was trying to give her time. To be clear, she stood at the back of the car. I grabbed some groceries. I went in the house. I put the groceries down. I circled back to the outside. She's still standing there. So I gave her all of that time to problem solve herself.
She was staring at the back of the fucking car for a minute.
And I get back outside, and she's standing there still. And she's like, "Should I take this?" You should have picked up 6 things.
Like, and I know my kid's autistic because I know what was going through her head. But to Jill's point, we've had to step that process up, because what was happening was when you go to Costco, they put all the loose shit in a box, and she knew she wasn't picking that box up. But the problem solving of Dad said take something out of it, but like this is it has to have been 75 seconds. Doesn't seem like a long time, but I made a trip inside, peed, washed my hands, came back to the kitchen, and then went and saw her still standing there. And I was like, listen. And then heard that. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go back out and grab the thing. But that process was too slow for both of us. But Jill, again, surface level.
She's like, "Should I pick this up?" Or she had the pack of mustard in her hand. She goes, "Should I take the ketchup too?" I said, "Just go in the house. Just go in the house. I no longer give a shit. Just go in the house." And then I grabbed the rest of the groceries and the paper towel. So I have like a Costco bag and the Costco size of paper towel. And I get in the front door, and she goes, "Do you want me to take the paper towel?" And
I had to stand outside for a second.
That's when I almost like burned the house down. I was just like, "No, I don't want you to take it now that's in the house." And she just like walked away, and I was just like, and that's when I had to put myself in timeout, because I could feel if she would have asked me one more question about groceries, Ethan would have had to like slap a hand over my mouth and be like, "You're gonna go upstairs for a second." Like, I was just like, I wanted you to take the paper towel when it was in the car, but now it's in the house. And it's just like, there's no she's a kid until after I've already almost lost it. And then when I put myself in timeout, I'm like, she's a kid.
Like, and I will always validate, like when Jill said that, I said, okay, I'm glad you said something, and like I think you were saying that you were upset about that, because even for me that took a little bit long. Like I'm not trying to govern my kid's time. She has autonomy, but I need a little more and I know that it's a confidence thing in her choice making, and that has to do with being confident everywhere else. Because when you like give her a direct, like, if I had said, "Hey, can you pick up the ketchup and the mayo and walk it inside?" she'd have filled both her hands, no question. Even though that would have been like awkward, she would have done it. But that's not what was said.
See, this is the clear, specific instructions. That's where this is where my processing stops. Because help Miss Jill bring in the groceries is a clear, specific instruction.
It is,
but apparently not to a child.
No, because you hear us talk about how we miscommunicate all the time, and this is one of those things, because there's no context needed in help Miss Jill take the groceries in. There is context needed when both of there's only actually 3 things. There's a big bag that she's not fucking carrying, a big thing of paper towel, which is light enough, it's just cumbersome. Ooh, good word use, nigga. And then this big box. And so when she went, I know she went out wholeheartedly to do what was said. But then now context is needed, because I don't think I can do any of the big things, but it seems weird to just take this little. Now there's context because, and that's on me. I said take the groceries in. I thought that was enough. Much like when I talk to this one and I say a whole bunch of words in a row and think that's enough.
I'm learning quickly that what should have been said is grab literally anything you can carry out of the back of that car and bring it in the house, is the sentence that should have been said, because apparently help bring the groceries in was in fact not clear enough instruction. And that's what I mean by I don't have the processing to slot in it's a child, because if an adult did that, I would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you standing there? But you can't say that to a child. So instead, I say nothing and just bring the groceries in myself.
And like my gentle parenting side is not that I don't say anything, is that I look at my kids still standing there and just have a giggle. Joy.
Oh, I got to hang out with my family from Holland on Sunday. We went to Fort Edmonton with my parents. Fort Edmonton brunch, not worth the money, just so we're clear. But I haven't been to Fort Edmonton I think I went to the Christmas market there a few years ago. And honestly, this is very classic me. I was like telling one of my friends, I'm like, I want to go for breakfast and I want to go home. I do not want to spend all day at Fort Ed. And then we in fact spent most of the day at Fort Ed and it was actually fun. Could have gone either way, but we like wandered Fort Edmonton and they have an Indigenous people's experience there, which about fucking time. You're going to talk about how all these white people settled here, but you're not going to talk about the people that were here first. So it's about time they put something in. But anywho, me and Jan and Ruda and my parents were like walking through the Indigenous people's experience, and my parents just kind of like ripped through it. They read a few things, but I could tell they were not like heavily invested. Versus Jan read, I swear, every single word in that whole exhibit, and like there was a lot to read. Like it timelined everything, how they lived before, when white people showed up, residential schools, what happened after residential schools, how they've like rebuilt their culture and their experience. Like it like went through all of it, what they lived in, what they used to hunt, like everything you could want to know was there. And like Jan actually read, I think, every single word. And he had like so many questions for me. Like he just kept being like, I had a giggle because they obviously don't know a lot about our history, but I'm like, you guys are the ones that did this. Whoop. White Europeans are in fact the ones that did this, but it's just funny that they don't know our stuff over here. Mm-hmm. And he just had so many questions for me about like reservations and residential schools and all of the things. And there's this like 5-minute video at the end that just like, it was like a video timelining like how they lived, and then residential schools and getting their hair cut off, and coming out of residential schools and rebuilding. And then this guy, like they hire like Indigenous humans to work there. He came in and like told his story of like generational trauma and how his like great grandpa and grandpa went to residential schools and how that kind of got passed down, and how he didn't know he was Indigenous until he was 15 because his mom didn't want him to know because she was bullied for being Indigenous. And I know there was a language barrier of like, I know he missed a lot of the words, but he came up to me after and he was like, Jillian, I have tears in my eyes. And I was just like, it's okay, like you're allowed to have tears in your eyes. He's like, why would they treat them like that? And he like asked, he was like, I was trying to Shazam the music because there was like drumming in the background. He was like, I was trying to Shazam it, but it's not working. So I like came home and asked Ethan if he could send me some like Indigenous music and artists to send to him. And it was just like,
you text me, where was I?
Doing your meal preps.
Oh yeah.
But it was just cool to like watch somebody actually be invested in learning and then also like have a heart. And that might sound weird, but I feel like everybody here is so desensitized to all of that. And then like the other hand is like white people don't care. So to watch somebody actually be willing to like learn and take in and ask questions and then like be actually impacted by the experience, and that's like what it's there for, was just cool. And then I came home and I was like, is it normal to think North America is like so lame? Because I just think like everything about the way they live in Holland is so much cooler than how we live in North America. Like they told me they ride their bikes for 40 kilometers every day because it's faster to bike than to drive a car. And I was just like, imagine if everybody here, people here wouldn't even consider riding their bike for 40 kilometers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like no big deal there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 40 kilometers is a trip
Like that's far. That's like here to like downtown.
and back. It's 20 clicks. Yeah.
And that's just like what they do because why would you drive a car? It'll take too long.
Joy. Mine's kind of twofold. One, I've been climbing a little bit. Like I've only gone like 4 or 5 times now, but I have just been having a lot of fun. And a lot of fun because I get to do stuff with my partner that's equally stoked when I do stuff. Like when I gas people up because I see it, she's very much the same way. And it's just been a lot of fun doing that. But more importantly, my joy was this weekend in the Hot Meal Event 3. Yep, 128 burgers I made by hand, which is fucking cool. Like, fuck, that's so cool. And just this one was really, really, really different in the way that it was in ceremony, which means that they had a sweat at the soup kitchen out back for the community that lasted like 2 hours, and it was really cool because like in the kitchen, obviously it really smells like what I'm making, but I have the doors closed so A, people don't bother me, and B, I can stay focused. And as soon as you open the door, it just smells like sage burning through the rest of the building and outside, and it's just a moment to come out and ground and be in ceremony for a moment with these people and with these humans that I enjoy being around and servicing and being a part of the community with, and then to feed them. And just, yeah, it went so smoothly. I thought I was going to be overwhelmed with how much I had to do. It's the first time I've gone without Jill, running the social media and in support of, like, last time she helped me with the veggies and stuff. So this time it was just me, and I knew I was going to have to hand roll them all, and I didn't know what that was going to take. But I forget sometimes that I'm autistic, and once I set into like a rhythm, it's just go. So I hand rolled, took me about an hour. But yeah, it was a great time, and got to hang out with the owner of the organization a bit and hear more of his story and what his plans are for the future for the soup kitchen and what that means for them out there. And he was really grateful, really thankful for this particular one because we've never had that much food made in one go, which is so fucking cool to think about. Like it just, those things for me will always be so cool to hear that they're happy that I'm utilizing their space in a way that it was meant to be utilized at capacity. So yeah, just a really cool thing that I get to do. And thank you to the people that donate and donated this past month. And I will be putting a call out for donations right now. You're welcome to donate and start that process for next month. I don't know what the meal is going to be. Stay tuned for the menu, but just another beautiful opportunity to feed your community, to show love on people that need it. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about things that got ruined by being polyamorous.
Things that got ruined by being polyamorous.
Mine is like my quickest realization. I think it was the first thing I like said to you out loud where I was like, "Oh, this isn't going to work anymore." Is that I can't watch
Oh,
like reality TV shows because they're all based in monogamy. Like Too Hot to Handle, The Ultimatum, like a lot of my ability to watch reality TV shows got ruined when I realized I didn't want to get married because a lot of reality TV shows are based around like find the person you want to love forever. Love is Blind, The Ultimatum.
Love on the Spectrum.
Yeah. So when I was like, well, you could just not get married and then you wouldn't be stressed about not getting married, that took a lot of reality TV off my radar, and then being polyamorous, most dating shows are based in monogamy. Um, and watching something like Too Hot to Handle, I was just like, or any show where it's like, oh, you like that person and me, like how dare you like both of us. I was just like, or you could just like both people and move on with your life. um and I'm not saying I watch reality TV show all the time, but I used to watch quite a few just like shitty TV shows, and Ethan and Brian would like talk shit about them all the time. And then at some point I was just
They
like,
were fun to watch. Hi though.
at some point I was just like, oh wait, this doesn't make sense in my brain anymore. I do still like Love Island. Too Hot to Handle I can't watch anymore because I feel like everybody knows what show they're on now, and then it's not fun. Like Too Hot to Handle was like fun to me when people cared and they were like trying to win the money, and then it got not fun to me anymore because people would go on that show just to like be assholes and like hook up with people the whole time, and I was like, okay, but the point of the show was you were supposed to care about the money. Love Island I still watch. Like I watched it last year, you watched a few with me. But most of them I just sit there and I'm like, I could solve all of your problems right now if you just stopped being monogamous. So kind of ruined reality TV shows for me.
It's not that polyamory ruined it. It's that it itself is polyamorous in nature and won't admit it, and that's Christianity. I was already on the out with Christianity before I understood that I was polyamorous. But one of the things that I will die on the hill of is like this motherfucker, God, you call him, I used to, says like loves the whole thing, loves the whole shit. Love is the whole shit. Love many, love all, actually. I didn't come up with the words. I just want to point that out. White people, Latin did most of the work, and then it got rewritten. But like monotheism, monotheistic religion is what Christians believe, one singular that can only be one, which is why so many people have trust issues and all that other shit. But anyway, not the point. But the love of many is the definition of polyamory. So I'm not sure how it was missed, because he fucking wrote a book, sort of, and said love all.
Did he write the book or did
Is it like really? Don't do that. Don't do that here. Shut up. They're like Swifties. They come out of the fucking woodwork. But like what I'm driving at is that he literally calls you to be polyamorous, and you guys were all like, no, only one. Yeah, it's crazy. He literally says love all, and then stipulates rules on marriage of singular people, therefore creating conditions on love, even though he calls you to love unconditionally.
Somebody asked what my tattoo behind my knee is.
Oh, and it's an owl.
You probably can't figure it out sideways, but it's the best I could show you.
How bad did that hurt?
I was trying to answer without.
No, that's fair. I just like I thought you were trying to signal me, so my brain was like, "What are you doing?" Yeah, that like it ruined this. Like it was so weird that my brain went from hating religion, because I do not really, I just don't deal with it, to having a good chuckle about the fact that listen, I got a better shot at getting into the pearlies than most of you. And that's unfortunate. I don't want to be there, but like I'm just saying. Like I heard what he said. I forgot the first one because I used to love the Lord your God with all your heart, but then he gave me parents and I think he had his eyes closed the whole time. So we're at odds, as it were. But on number 2, I got it. I got that shit made.
I think he picked from the wrong bucket of parents. Like, those were the discards, and he was like, "Ooh."
Yeah, you ever see that bin of forgotten toys at Walmart? That's how I feel. Except for it was in the poison section.
Like,
Anyways,
there was a do not assign.
this was joy, and then we moved on. We're already in topic. Thank God, because I was gonna say my joy ended morbidly. No, it just like ruined this concept. There was a lot of things that I was like, oh, we're all missing it. Best friends. It ruined that. I've never really understood the best friends concept because best meaning there can only be one, which is so fucked up. But I've always had multiple best friends. I've had multiple, like a circle of people that used to hang out with me, and that's evolved over time. But there's still a functional group that helps keep me breathing. Would be the best of the rest of the world, maybe to me currently. But that's still a group, and it's weird. It's weird. It's also weird to choose some random motherfucker over years of best frienderies. But also not the point. What? I could do this forever.
I know, I keep thinking you're done, and I go to
I
talk.
do. Sorry. I'm done. I'm done now. It's my bad. Whatever. You asked me a question.
Tattoo questions. How bad did it hurt? I numbed the whole back of my knee. I incorrectly numbed the front of my knee and my kneecap.
Cassandra, always, as long as you don't ask it like a tit.
And my kneecap was a bitch. I actually had a no good, very bad time getting my kneecap tattooed. I had to sit like this for most of it so she could like shade the face. And I was like, you know what? I actually think it doesn't need a face. Just leave it blank.
Oh, you asked a monogamous question. That's fine. That's fine.
What if one of you finds someone else better chemistry?
Okay, let me break that. Can I break that one down? What if one of you finds, there's the problem, someone else, there's the second problem, better, third problem, matched, fourth problem, better chemistry, fifth problem. Because all of those require hierarchy, as if someone needs to be better than Jill to have access to the love that I have in my being, which would then be like you have to then qualify yourself and your worth for my acceptance, which is not how that goes. There's no such thing as better in this life. I have a wonderful human that chooses to do life with me every day and can choose to stop doing that at any point. And while it would hurt, sure, it's also a fact of this thing that we walked into life together. It's also not about being better. That would then always have fear for Jill, thinking I'm going out and going, who's going to be the thing? Could I leave? No, it's not about better. It's me getting to choose to love on people who then choose to love me back in whatever capacity they have, I have, and we agree on.
This is how I know I'm not monogamous, because the way my brain's like, even when I was monogamous, people were like, aren't you worried he's going to cheat on you? Go ahead. Aren't you worried he's going to leave you for someone else? Go ahead. And same rules apply. Currently, it's just not, it's not if somebody comes, I have to go. I hope Ethan goes and finds somebody that can support him in a new, different way. I hope Ethan goes and finds a partner that can add to his life, our life, in a way that is productive and healthy. Like, I go and find better. That doesn't.
But there isn't better. That's not. I don't agree with that.
But like, using your language, like, I hope he goes and finds people that can add and support. But it would never be worded as better. It would be like, oh, that person can support Ethan in a way that like maybe I can't, or I choose not to, or whatever. And now Ethan has a bigger support network. But it's not, oh, they can support him in this way, so then I guess I'm chopped liver and have to leave. Like, it's just like, okay, cool, now we can both support him in different ways.
Yeah, it's actually more of I view it from where I sit as much more of a relief on Jill when someone else chooses to hold some version of whatever they choose to hold for me, because Jill currently holds a lot of it. Not that she can't and doesn't choose to, but Jill holds a lot of it. And when I get into safe spaces with other people, it gets to spread out. I don't know how else to say that.
Yeah, like, I would actually, and this is not in a negative, like, I would love if somebody could come and Ethan can feel an equal or similar or different level of support from them, and I would love to be able to trust somebody to be able to like hold Ethan and support him and protect him in the ways that I do. This is not a shot at people, but I've yet to find somebody that can. So I do it and I'm happy to do it. But I would love to be able to send Ethan out into the world with another person that I know will catch him in whatever way it may or may not come up in that day.
Yeah, one
Nobody's
of the
really batted
yeah, I
100%
think
doing
one of
that.
the not unique but different things about the way that we live life is that I do in fact have a support person on top of a relationship that I am in. Jill accepts two roles in this life with me, um, three as a business partner, but there's a support human role. Like Jill gets to say things in doctor's appointments when I don't have the words. You know what I mean? Like it's um, yeah, it's not that I need someone to go here, take this burden. I love people. And when people choose to walk into my orbit and love on me, there's a piece about me, a couple of them that are very important to know before entering into whatever version of connection you choose to do with me. Number one is that I am a horrific childhood trauma survivor. Um, and that comes up in very important ways that I'm very good at masking, very good at navigating, very good at leaning on the person that chooses to be the biggest one and the one that I pay to do it. But if someone walks in and says, I can't carry that level of dark, but when you need to like move your body, can we go do this thing? I'd love to support you in movement. Then I get to go decompress with someone in a different way than I do because Jill and I go to the gym all the time. But it's now my energy gets to go be dumped somewhere else, and even in that space, I get asked how my day is. In that space, I get checked on, and this is with my current partner. This is someone that's chosen to do this and has asked on a repeat how they can support me, and I let them figure it out for themselves because this I'm allowed to say a thing, and then people get to choose. Uh, but to Jill's point, my biggest supporter is still sitting right here, and my biggest protector, and that's a crazy thought. But I say this all the time. I don't take it for granted. Jill has my back in a way that like she doesn't. She's harder to win over in trusting the navigation and handling of me than I am with people. Because of course I want to trust people with being able to do this. I want to trust people with being able to be around me and do life and have all the fun things. But in order to have all the fun things, you have to hold some of the less than fun things.
Well, and everyone thinks they can, and I don't say that as like a shot, but like everybody's like, "Oh yeah, it's no big deal." No, it actually is a big deal, and it's one of my like biggest like red flags when people come around Ethan and they're like, "Oh, like your trauma is not a big deal." No, it is a big deal. It actually is ingrained to everything Ethan does every single day. And if you're gonna brush it off as it's no big deal, I can do it, then I immediately don't trust you to do any of it, because it is a big deal and it's a really big deal sometimes. And if you're gonna walk around being like, "Whatever, it's no big deal," then like, shoe fly. Um, so my thing with people always, and like looping it back to the topic of the episode, like something that got ruined was like the act of like, what if Ethan finds better? Like, it's not a matter of finding better, but like, yes, please go find more people that can support and add. Like, I'm not sitting here being like, oh, what if Ethan goes on a date and he likes somebody more than me? Like, that's monogamy, and polyamory ruined the idea of if he finds somebody who's also cool, I have to go. Um, and like I said, like I hope Ethan finds a person, people, multiple people, friends, partners, whatever, that can add to his support network and be able, I can send him out into the world with people and know he's good. Um, but
Yeah,
it,
similarly, like on the same vein, the other goes the way for currently Jill's friends. I love Michelle. But like I'm also like, are you going to turn out to be like other people? And so far, 148% of the time, she's exactly who she says he is, the greatest human. There's always this defensive. Are you going to come back with another story about these bitches being bitches? And I hate that. But it's also trusting that these people will hold the heaviest and best parts of Jill like I do in their own way. Like I say like I do, not because I want them to be, but because the compersion comes from seeing someone else love Jill, friend or partner. I love this person. You may fucking love her. Is how I feel. That's how I feel about it. Yeah, like it's you get like I would never, and I would never get like jealous or upset about time with Michelle. I will get FOMO probably before anything else. Like
I don't
you
think
know what I mean.
I don't think you're ignorant with your wording at all. I think that's exactly how
Oh
your brain
no,
worded the question. It's just like,
that's why I said it with a smile, and
and
I hope
that's
that
it's just like the biggest difference between monogamy and polyamory is like those words just don't really like enter our orbit anymore. Like there's no piece of me that's like, oh, Ethan's gonna go on a date and find better. That's a monogamy thing, and that's fine because assuming you're monogamous, that would be the way your brain operates in this world. So I don't think it's ignorant. I just think like if you're monogamous,
like
that is an actual fear. What
but
if my person finds a better person and then I have to leave? And that is just like not.
So okay, I think I can counter you. It's not that ignorant is just like such a word thrown around in such a, like a hateful way, but it's ignorant. We hear the word ignorant and we assume it means willful ignorance. But ignorant is there's many levels to it, and ignorant like not the just like this not knowing place of I don't have enough information, but this is how I view it. Like that's ignorance. It's not bad. The reason that I responded, let me break it down to you, and Jill was smiling as I was breaking it down because like it was meant to be like I get why you asked that way. I said it as soon as I read it. That's a monogamous question, but I'm let me break it down and let me try to answer that because it's so. The unlearning process when we first got together was a lot of it was vernacular. A lot of it was how we address things. We didn't use baby until like, oh God, after the first year. Because baby felt such like monogamous terminology for our endear. So it was always love and partner and other things. Little one, not like, but other things. Sorry, my brain went left. You're up. I'm stuck in left.
Yeah, you just change your wording when you're not monogamous anymore, and that's just
that.
I think.
Sorry, I call you lots.
It's
of things.
fine.
You call me lots of
Ethan's
things.
very ADHD today, so he'll just like keep going on the topic. But I think that is his point: is when you live differently, your language.
Yeah,
changes.
sorry. My bad. Dot. Next. Something else that was ruined by polyamory.
My family doesn't ask about my life anymore. And at first that really bothered me. And it still does bother me sometimes. Like I had a small meltdown about it because I went to a family thing on Saturday and one of my cousins was there that is never there. He's never there because his dad is the worst. And I also think his dad is the worst. So I'm never there for the same reason. So him and I are never there. However, we were both there on Saturday because his dad was not. And it doesn't really bother me to an extent anymore, but it was something that like definitely in the beginning was a little bit of a harsh realization of like, oh, when I started openly talking about being poly on the internet and my family's nosy, so they found out. It was like very apparent that when I would walk into family events, nobody would ask me any questions about my life. And I'm not talking like, oh, is that just in your head? Like I'm talking, they would be like, how's work? How's your friends? How's your boyfriend? How's your girlfriend? To all my other cousins. And then nothing got asked to me. And that was like, kind of sucked. The first time I came home from like an extended family dinner, I was just like, oh, so this is going to be how my life is now with all of these Christian monogamous people. Like we can't ask Jill because it's big and scary, so we'll just say nothing. And it was really frustrating for me for a long time because I was like, I still have a job, I still have a partner. Like you could ask about my work, you could ask about the partner you know of, but instead nobody asked me anything. And that's still true. Like, and then I also don't share a lot anymore because I don't trust a lot of people in my family with my shit. So something that I guess got ruined, but also was like a protect myself thing, was how much I choose to share with people I know don't actually care.
Nice.
And nobody in my family knows how to shut the fuck up. So if you say one thing, the whole world will know. And like enough of my life is on the internet. So
Yeah.
that's it for today. Thanks for hanging with us. As always, you can find the podcast at Shifting the Lens Podcast. You can find me at CoachJill.April.
Fight me on this, Sir Lifts.
And we'll catch you next time.